All right, guys, we are here at Kindred Motorworks. We are going to do a tour with Juan. He is going to show us around. We've got all the representatives from the NorCal EV community, myself from the Bay Area Lightning Club. We have Sophie from NorCal EVs, the legendary Al from Tesla Owners Club East Bay, and Zach from Bay Area Rivian Club. We are all here as a group going to take a tour of the building. Let's check it out.
Welcome to Bo Family EV. I hope you'll like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Let's go.
All right, guys, we are back with Juan, the Director of Business Development from Kindred. He's going to be the one leading the group on the tour. So let's start off just kind of learning about the history of Kindred, and then we'll join the group and we'll do a walk around together.
Hi guys, my name is Juan Segarra. I am here at Kindred Motorworks, and I will be taking you guys on a tour of our factory today. Kindred started as a company about 5 years ago, not in a building this size, but in a much smaller building. And since then we've grown to about 100 people, and we build one new Bronco every single week. We're expanding our lineup to the EV Bronco, Q1 of next year. And we are excited to show you guys all the inner workings of the facility, every single part that we make here, how we make it, and how it all comes together to look like something like this. If you are in the market for a Bronco, if you've ever explored the market for a restored Bronco, you can see prices as high as $400,000 and $500,000. If you think that's crazy, go try and do it yourself. I promise you, it costs a lot of money. It's a lot of time, a lot of effort, especially if you're paying a shop to do it. So that price is not super inflated as much as you would think. Just in parts and bill of materials for some of these cars, it's north of 150 grand. Just in parts. So all the parts sitting on the ground, no one has touched it, it's about 150 grand. So for us to sell at any reasonable price that people would buy, we had to figure out the process behind putting these cars together, streamline that as much as possible. With scale of economy through our supply chain, we're able to get parts costs a little cheaper than what the average person would get, and end up putting out a product that we're proud of and at a price point that people will be attracted to. So the VIN number on the Bronco is located on the frame rails. So we have to retain the frame rails to maintain that originality of the car. Because our donors come in such varying conditions, we actually get rid of the original bodies and the interiors, and we start from scratch. And that, a lot of that process you'll see later in the building, where we build actually all the bodies, all the interiors, all the electronic components, everything like that. So, upholstery department, we import all of our leather straight from Italy. We have the highest grade materials that we can find into the building for all of our upholstery guys to make all of our parts. So these seats are Recaro seats that we've reskinned. So we match all of the leather throughout the car to itself. So there's no different there's no different leather materials in the car. So it's all from the same stock, essentially. But here we make all of our interior panels. You can see different things on the racks. You can see rear seats there. These are shifter boots over here. You can kind of pass this around so you guys can see it, feel it, touch it. Pass a couple of them around. If you guys want to pass it around and feel it, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. We keep this pretty well stocked. Part of the, again, going back to our foundation as a software company, part of the job of the software, it's called Resource Manager. And so that basically takes an account of the available talent on site, the available raw materials on site, and the available equipment on site, and monitors different stock levels of each part, and kind of directs all of the technicians onto what to build. So in terms of management, we basically follow the computer, and the computer tells us, hey, we're running low on this stock, and we've got 2 builds coming that don't have those parts. We need resources allocated towards that. So it'll actually direct the technicians on what exactly to build at any given day. So now these are all of our new cars. So these are our most recent builds. These are going through varying stages of quality inspection before they go out to the customer. So please be careful, don't scratch things. If we want to climb into one, I'll show you the ones we can kind of explore a little bit deeper towards the end of the tour.
Do you do
go ahead.
Do you do any safety upgrades? Looks like you have new seat belts.
We do, yes. So originally these cars only came with a lap belt,
right,
and they were kind of sketchy. Yeah. They didn't have headrest, they didn't have reinforcements to the frame. So all of those points we touch on. So reinforced frames, updated headrest to provide some neck support in the chance to collision, 6-point roll cage, and 3-point safety harnesses for the front and the rear. So
any of that required, or you're just doing it?
That's just due diligence, yeah. None of that's required. So because we're technically just restoring these cars, we don't have to abide by modern safety standards, but only the standard of the year. So all of that's just, we want to feel comfortable enough to put our families in it. So I want a 3-point seatbelt. This is our service department. So anytime a vehicle goes out, we have a service network throughout the country. So we have 25 customer deliveries done at this point in, I think it's 10 different states. So what we do is whenever we have a client in a new market, we'll actually go and identify a service partner in that market and have that vehicle serviced with that partner. If there's any cars that are local, they actually come here. We're basically the OEM, so they can come to the shop and we service the cars here. And if we ever need to ship parts or ship anything, it's much easier to ship parts to the car than to ship the car back here for service. So, we've set up that service network, and if we have customers in, Saudi Arabia or in Australia or anywhere around the world, it's much easier to ship the parts there and have them serviced locally than it is the other way around. So, which is,
what kind of warranty do you
sorry,
offer? What kind of warranty do you offer?
It's 1 year bumper to bumper, unlimited miles. So we encourage people to try and put 100,000 miles in the first year, and we will honor that warranty. We actually do have a lot of customers who drive these very regularly. We've got a guy, in Marin who drives to the city every day. So he commutes, he works in the city, lives in Marin, so he drives back and forth. Within 6 months had accumulated 4,000 miles, so pretty good for that. Let's keep on moving down. So this is our R&D area. We've got a Chrysler 300, but that is one of our engineers who took a different car for the weekend, so he parked in here. But this is where we actually build our first prototypes. So in the office there, we have all of our engineers, all of our finance people, all of our marketing team or sales team, everyone works in the office. That's where all of our designs are made that then get either sent out of house for the parts, or we actually build the parts in here in a lot of cases, and we hand assemble the cars here for the first time. Here we have our engineering Bronco that we use to kind of validate any new parts for our production cars. So anytime we run into an issue on the production side, we get new parts designed, we get everything into this car, we put as many miles or do whatever tests we need to do to validate that part of that system and make sure that it works on a current production car, and then we feed all of that, those designs and those parts into the production line. So we don't want to put in untested designs into the production line, because that's a huge mess. You end up at the end of the production line and then the customer complains, hey, why is this not working, if you don't test it. So we make sure that we test all of our things before they go into production, just to be safe. Here we have one of our EV Broncos. You might have poked around a little bit at the other EV Bronco at the front, but this one is essentially identical. We built this, when did we finish this build, do you think, Brad? In July. So we finished this build in July, and since then we've been using it to validate all the systems on the car. So we should be in production with this car in Q1 of next year. So in a couple months, we'll actually go into production. And we'll see the production area for the EV Bronco in just a minute. But this car will be pretty close to representative to what the customer will actually receive. We currently are close to sold out for the EV Bronco for all of next year, so you can imagine there's quite a bit of interest. If you are interested in EV Bronco, today's the day to talk to me because that timeline will only increase.
How many do you do a year?
We build anywhere between 40 and 50 years. So again, about one a week. So this space here, so these next couple of cells, this represents our EV Bronco production line. So we'll walk over to the gas Bronco production line towards the end of the tour. But this is basically going to be where we build all of the EV Broncos that come out of the facility. We can actually sneak through here. There's not much. Watch your steps still, please. So we can sneak over to the battery.
Is that the portable DCFC?
It is.
Nice.
That's really cool. So this here, please don't reach over anything, and if we can kind of just keep a distance. This is our high voltage area. So this is where we will actually build all of our EV Bronco batteries. So we've got a couple different packs that make up the EV Bronco battery to get to 80 kilowatts capacity. And we designed all of that in-house. So we buy the module, package the module into the enclosure. Which 3 enclosures that then get packaged into the car. Those all get connected electrically, that deliver the power to the motor. It's a 2-motor, all-wheel drive configuration. So it's pretty spicy. It's pretty fun.
What's the range?
It's about 150 to 200 miles of range, depending on how you drive. So it's a great around town car.
75?
If you drive like no, we are very realistically getting about 200 miles. That's a mix of city and highway driving. We might look at expanding the battery pack to get a little bit more range, but that gets into diminishing returns. You add too much weight for the range, so it kind of kills it. But
What type of connector do you want it?
sorry?
What type of connector? Sure.
We will have a CCS connection. So it's, where's Seth when you need him? Seth! It's your time. It's your time to shine.
Front center.
You're going to start talking about charging curves.
Yeah, here we go. Charging questions.
Charging questions.
Yeah. What kind of connector do we have?
So we're starting off with the CCS charging. The NACS, the whole industry just, made a rapid turn on that. Fundamentally, they're a little different. So we're hoping to switch to that as soon as we can, but we really want to have fast charging for the cars. That makes it so much more drivable, long trips and things.
So what is the charging like right now? Power, max power and all that? Charging curve?
They're relatively slow. We're like, 80 to 100 kilowatt.
Okay.
But again, the cars, kind of not designed for that hard.
No, but that's fine.
But it can do it.
That's what a Chevy Bolt is.
Yeah. So, you can half-hour charge and can be back on the, and we're working actually on the next generation of battery that has moves to a much faster cell for charge rates.
So you guys said you're started as a software company. Are you putting any of your software in the EVs?
Yeah. So we've developed our own thermal management system.
Okay.
So battery condition. So we can heat pool batteries to, keep them in their happy zone. And then that same system provides the air conditioning and heating for the cabin. So that's a big difference. There's a lot of like EV conversion kits and things and people doing these in their garage, but it's like that system's really complicated. So that there's nothing off the shelf that covers that.
There's no open source VMs.
Not really. No. So it's integrating we've selected the components we want to use and integrated that together with our own software.
Did he answer time charge?
Time charging.
Say from 20 to 80%?
20 to 80.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's probably like half hour, 40 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. We're still I can't show you guys behind there, but we have a test bench where we're currently setting up our CCS charging. So it's a complicated system. And again, that's kind of our own software for some of that as well.
So it's the sad reality. A lot of people buy these as projects and they never actually get to them because it's hard. There's a lot of steps involved, especially to do it at a high quality. It's very difficult. So there are implications to aftermarket part supply. So if you need that one last bolt, what is the likelihood that you can find it off the shelf versus making a custom part for it? If you make a custom part for it, that part for a simple trim piece, that part cost shoots through the roof, and that makes your overall product more expensive. So another reason we chose the Bronco.
You make parts?
We do make a lot of parts, but it is always easier to find parts off the shelf, especially if they fit all of your design needs and performance needs. So parts that we can't find that fit our design needs and performance needs, we build in-house, and in a lot of cases, if we have the volume, we send it out to a manufacturer who then builds them in mass and delivers them to us so that we can tie up less labor costs here. Right. Labor and, equipment costs all the rest. So, what did I say? And demand. So demand is the last part of that formula. We have to find the donors, we have to find the parts, and we have to have the demand. There has to be people on the other side who are willing to fork out to a lot of people, an accessible amount of $200K. Just ballpark what all of our cars cost. Not everyone can afford it. I wish I could afford it because I love these cars, but there are people who have done very well in their lives and they see this as an iconic car that they've always wanted, and I had a gentleman walk up to me. He said, tell me about this, tell me about that. I'll take that in blue and that in red. Here's my credit card. There are those people in the world, and we love those people because they mean that all of us
keep you employed.
They keep the lights on. Yeah, they let us do what we love. So there are a lot of people out there. We just have to make sure that we pick the right models a year and a half in advance, so that we build the right thing, so that when we say, "Hey, we're ready," there's a line out the door making sure that we keep our jobs, basically. So
you guys have managed to get Apple CarPlay for everything.
Have you always had Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, or is that something you recently added?
That's something we've always offered. Yeah, it's like kind of our whole ethos is we want to modernize vintage cars, and so we think that as part of the driving experience is very important. Anytime I get into a car without that, I'm always like, my phone for directions and distracted. So that, just putting that screen in, a lot of people don't like it because it takes away from the vintage look of the car, which I agree, but it's just so fundamental to driving safely, in my opinion, is you can't lose that. So, but in it's Bluetooth, it's wireless connected for both of those. So you don't actually have to plug your phone in for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto.
I hope you have a USB-C connection so it actually charges fast enough.
We do, and we also have a wireless charging pad. So you can see here on the racks, these are portions of what will eventually become that finished body in the center. So we can find off the shelf certain portions that we can use to build the whole car, and certain parts we have custom designs, so we don't use things off the shelf. Parts of the body is here. You can see here, scattered in the middle. We've got other body parts. That's our fabrication area, as you can see with the Bronco hood up there. It's pretty cool. Make signs. That is where all of our bodies essentially come to life. So we take parts off the shelf, we take our custom parts, we spot weld everything together, seam weld things, and actually build up the bodies from scratch here. And the question was, what do we actually keep from the original car? That's these frames right here. So, wow. Is this a lot of frames?
I don't know.
We've got, we'll show you guys the boneyard, you guys can see. But this is not what they come in looking like. So this is after we've sandblasted them and kind of cleaned them up. We do quite an extensive look at the frames before we actually use them as the foundation of our car. We'll actually sometimes, unfortunately, buy frames, realize they're not good enough, and throw them in the trash. So we only use the best donor frames for the cars we build.
Like if they're rusted out
Exactly.
a certain amount, basically, like, and it's...
Yeah, twisted, rusted. So sometimes they will come with clean paperwork, but they've been on a farm their entire life, and we realize they've pulled one too many stumps out of the ground, and they're pretty twisted. So some of those, if we can't reinforce them and fix them, we'll actually throw them in the trash. So some we can't salvage. And we've gotten much better through the years. So I remember when we first started buying these, we were throwing away, out of 5, we'd probably get 3. So we were throwing a lot of them away. We've learned a lot. So now we have much better success with finding good donor frames. We know what to look for. We
Going
know
for
what
garage
to
queens.
avoid. What's that?
Going for garage queens.
No, not all the time, but sometimes, yeah. And then down here, we have all of our custom brackets and reinforcements for our suspension. So this frame here will actually go off to powder coat. From the powder coat, we'll actually then cycle back into the general assembly area. They came from farms, they came from ditches, garages, everywhere. People have tried to fix it themselves. People have welded their own little bumper guards on them and all sorts of stuff. So you take them as they are, sandblast them, cut off any of the extra stuff, make sure that it's good enough, and then weld all of our parts on it with our jigs, send it off to powder coat, get it back in, and then it starts as a Kindred Bronco. Got out in the middle aisle 2 different bodies at different stages. So this is basically, once it's done under fabrication, it looks like that. And then once it goes through its first step of kind of scratch resistance, you can think of it as a, what's that called? Bed liner.
Yeah, bed liner.
Yeah. This is what we put on to all of the interior and the bottom of the Bronco. So what that does is obviously abrasion resistance, rust prevention, and there is a big component of like noise reduction that comes from this. So it's a pretty dense material, and when you spray it on there, it comes on pretty thick. So we tried it without it, and we tried it with it, and it's so much better with it. So we kept it. And it's color matched on the inside, and then all black on the bottom. So this is going to be one of our icy blue cars, which we might have one of this color done. So it'll be cool to see, the later stage of it. But again, this is our paint and body shop, so all of our body panels actually come and get processed through here. We do any dent fixing, any imperfections, we sand them out. We make sure that all of our bodies are as straight as possible when they come through here. And then they go into the paint booth at the end, and so we spray them in the paint booth and bake them in the paint booth. So drying time, as you can imagine, could take overnight, but with the paint booth we can accelerate it, 5x or something. So we bake our things. I think they have to bake for about an hour before they're done, and they come out and they're ready to be installed on the car.
And that the topper fits in there?
Oh yeah, it's huge. You can fit I think 2 cars in there. So it actually goes to the end of the building. So
But you paint part by part.
What's that?
You paint just part by part?
So you can see the racks that actually go into the paint booths here.
Okay.
So we'll actually hang up a lot of parts that are all going to be the same color on the racks, and we'll spray multiple parts at once. It just saves time and space in the paint booth. Rob and friends that started the company, their background was in software. So they had started a couple of software companies before and did really well with them. If you've ever bought anything from Target, you've probably used their software. So there's like a third-party logistics software where you go, you click, and they source the best way to move one product to the other place. So they've been really successful with that, all car guys. So naturally, we started kind of as a technology software company, and we are now a vehicle restoration company on the front, but still have that strong foundation in software, and that's evident through the processes that we use. So in-house, we developed several pieces of software that actually help us optimize the manufacturing process, and help us actually bring our costs down dramatically compared to our competitors. For those of you who don't know the history behind Mare Island, it was the first military installation for the U.S. on the West Coast. So back in, I think it was the 1800s is when this was actually established as a military installation for the U.S. government. The Navy occupied it for, I think it was under 100 years, but a huge portion of time they occupied this space here in Vallejo. For those of you who don't know, Vallejo was actually the state capital of California for a year. Yep, fun fact. And Benicia too. So they swapped and then they took it away. So, but it happened. The Navy used to build nuclear submarines in this building. So that's another cool fact. So this is a retired Navy submarine building that we've taken over. They used to have railroad tracks that run from the front to the back where they used to load all the heavy equipment for the submarine and eventually the submarine itself. These big metal beams on the top were part of a gantry crane where they used to lift all of the heavy equipment and load it onto the center aisle to build the submarine. So a lot of history here. We have actually a couple employees that work here whose grandparents worked here, which is actually pretty cool. A lot of money and time and effort obviously has gone into retrofitting this building into a car manufacturing plant. So we are currently producing right about a car a week. It's a little faster than that. So I think 6 days a new car comes out. So it's taken a lot of time and work to get to this point, but we're pretty stoked to be here. So.
Well, that will wrap it up from Kindred Motorworks. Huge shout out to Juan for showing us around the building today. And it was great also getting together with Zach, Al, and Sophie from the different Northern California EV clubs. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help my channel grow. Really helps me out a lot. Share the content, join the content, check out my other videos. We will see you on the next one.